Sean Payton, former Saints head coach. Does that sound strange to hear?
Actually, it's the first time I heard that, and it sounded a little odd, yes.
When did you realize, though, that you were getting close to a decision about stepping away from the Saints?
I think probably the latter part of the season. And when we finished, you always try to kind of avoid, something like that when it's raw, right when the season's over with. And, I spent a couple days, I spoke with Mickey, our general manager, Mrs. Benson, and then, typically a staff has a week off after the season before you start on the Senior Bowl and the scouting. And so we all kind of had that vacation. But I'd say, honestly, the last part of the season, there wasn't one game, there wasn't one specific moment. It just felt like this was going to be the time.
Who tried to talk you out of this?
Well, Mickey, who's a dear friend, our GM and I spoke for an hour and a half. This was right after the season ended, so this is, the week prior to the wild card round. He was good. I mean, he understood it. We've been together, two of us, 16 years. Mrs. Benson was the one that really was adamant, that I take a week away and don't give her an early decision. And then outside of that, Dennis Lauscher, our president, the same way. Both my kids were all ears. They really wanted to be supportive, and we've heard burnout before. I don't know that it's that, but when you're someplace for 16 years, 15 seasons, over a period of time that you're almost ready for another challenge, and you don't know. The thing about it is that there was a week or two leading up to this, and then at the point where I stepped away, there was this discussion that, hey, he's going to go into TV, and I'd like to do that, and yet I hadn't heard from anybody. There was this, well, he's already got, and I'm like,
ouch! Kind of hard to go in if nobody's asking you to come in, Sean.
No one's asking. So, fortunately, the day of after the press conference, we received a number of calls, but there's every once in a while, I think it's all right to step outside, be a little uncomfortable, and I think that had a lot to do with it.
Do you want to do studio, or would you like to be part of a game broadcast?
That's a great question. I don't know. Honestly, I'd like maybe some expert to say this is what I think you should do, because I have no idea.
Well, here's the problem, and Drew ran into this in the playoff game that he did. Like, you got to be to the point. You got 20 seconds, 15 seconds. Yeah. You have a play clock, that you have to adhere to.
Yeah.
Can you do that? Can you compartmentalize, say something that is going to be tangent to what's going on, get the hell out of the way, let the play develop? Now, what did you just see that we didn't see? And
yeah, I think so. Absolutely. I had a guy in a production meeting this year from one of the networks asked me to, hey, when you're taking us through this, take us through it like you were helping our moms or explaining it to our mothers, where everyone can understand. And I think that in a year where we lost probably the best to ever do it relative to the masses and John Madden, when John, there's generations that think of John either as a coach, that wasn't me, an announcer, that was me, and then certainly the Madden game, which is my son. He had a great way in 10 seconds or even less than that to say, hey, they pushed harder here, and that's why they gained 3 yards.
Yeah, it seems simple, but it's not. And the great ones, Romo does an unbelievable job. Collinsworth does an unbelievable job. Troy does. It's, you got to see it, say it, get out of the way, and let your play-by-play boys call the action. Now you have to clean up the mess right after that of why it happened or, it didn't happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes what I observe from afar is, and with all of the guys you just mentioned, um, I've done some studio work before a Super Bowl, or studio on set work before whatever, a playoff round, and you have your topic, and the person in charge is the one that's really directing traffic. They've got a hard job. We all wait for our little point. They throw us the pass, and we shoot a shot, and then we root for that to happen in the game. And then when it doesn't happen in the game, the coaches are all messed up. Why didn't that happen? I predicted it. And so, yeah, I think sometimes I would guess one of the bigger mistakes would be we're not getting paid by the word.
Yes.
Like sometimes it's right there for us to watch. And you see that. It's interesting. I think one of the better compliments would be, I can't recall who called the game. My dad used to say, the sign of someone that was well dressed, you couldn't remember what he wore, but we can certainly remember when we don't like what we hear.
Well, it's like an umpire in baseball. If I don't know your
Yeah.
name, you probably had a pretty good game. We're talking to Sean
right.
Payton, the former Saints head coach. I was curious about the state of the Saints and the role that played in your decision. Salary cap issues. You don't have a franchise quarterback. You don't know what's happening with Michael Thomas. You somehow squeezed 9 wins out of this roster, which was amazing. But what role did that play in you deciding that you wanted to step away?
I've been asked that question, but I would say it had little to do with this decision. And here's where I'm going. We had 58. We were the first team to ever have 58 starters in a season. That was a record. So the prior record was 57. That team, I'm not sure who won 3 games. There was somebody that had 56 that won 5 games. We won 9 games with 58 starters, and we won because our defense is playing at an outstanding level. We didn't turn the ball over offensively, and granted, we played 4 different quarterbacks, but we're built through the offensive line. Mike Thomas will be coming back off an injury, and we have a salary cap issue, but we had that same cap issue in a different, even in a more dramatic fashion heading into last season. Then you look at our division, because you want to win, and you look at Carolina, and then you look at Atlanta, and now, well, I'm okay with that. And then you look over at Tampa Bay, and man, there's going to be some shuffling of the guard there. They won the division, but they didn't beat us. So I think, there's no utopia when you walk into one of these jobs. And then me leaving, I don't think it was because of the current. I would say that almost was something that was weighing with me, because you don't get a defense like this often. It took a long time.
Yeah. How many teams have reached out to you?
Not one.
Nobody.
The networks. Now, well, they would have to reach out to the Saints. And look, you know this. You can have a backdoor. Hey, would you have any interest? That's happened maybe with a couple clubs, but I'm not looking at that path right now. At some point, I don't think I'm finished coaching, but I was excited to get 2 or 3 calls and texts from people in the television industry.
But you have had teams back channel, third party.
The 2. And when I say that,
if I guess, will you tell me?
Yeah, you no, because there's only
wait, you said yes.
Okay.
When
I say that, all I'm saying is somebody who's close to someone, man, you'd be really good here. This is only, we're 24 or 48 hours removed from it, and that's not my plan. My plan is for someone to tell me, we think you'd be good at not play by play, but in-game analysis or in studio. We think you'd be good at this, and we'd like you to come try it. And I'd be excited, because there's a part of you that also wants to listen and learn again, and not be the one directing. Just how can I be great at something different than coaching, and then teach me.
The Bears and the Cowboys.
No.
Oh,
That's where it stopped.
Okay. All right. Well, here's the other thing, Sean. You can't master it in 1 year. If you're going to do this, you have to go all in and do it. Because Jason Witten wasn't ready to do this. He needed other reps to maybe get to a certain point. But if you're going to commit to this, then you got to look at it and say, I'm committed for 2 years, 3 years. Because if I'm hiring you and it's going to be in a booth, studio are interchangeable. But in a booth, you're calling a game. And if you're there with Joe Buck for Fox, then I want to know you want to be there, and we develop. And even, Jim Nantz said this to us earlier in the week. This was the first game he did with Tony Romo where he thought the 5 years we've been together that we called our best game. And they're among the elite to ever do it. But that's the commitment you're going to have to make.
No, I understand. And I think that's kind of exciting. I said, look, I might coach again because I don't want to say I'm never doing this. And then someday somebody say, well, this is what he told us. I thought, that happens so often with coaches that when Madden left after 10 years, my understanding was he was pursued twice, and then finally took that job with CBS. And I don't think it's possible to dabble in something like that, and it's not possible for me to dabble in anything. And I've watched these progressions and these hires, and I would say I agree with you with what you're saying. Witten didn't have a great surrounding cast either, but interesting to watch Tony's, because the one thing that's apparent is until that individual's on camera for a game or two, it's hard to predict how they're going to be and how the television's going to receive them. Like, it's probably a little bit like a first round pick or a second round pick. We think we've got a vision, and yet I'm sure there've been a lot of misses. And then I'm sure there've been some other ones that, this guy was better than we ever expected.
Yeah, it's that ability to be able to predict what's going to happen. And it helps being a quarterback, with Payton doing it or Romo doing that you're aware that, hey, you do your homework. If you were coaching against this team, like
sure,
that's your process probably is like, this is what we always prepared for. This is what they like to do.
Yeah.
This is what I would be called. Like, those are the kind of things where you can rely on all of those years of being a head coach and assistant coach.
Yeah. Look, exactly. Because when I watch a game, which isn't often, but when you watch a game in a television manner, last weekend was a great weekend of football, you're thinking situationally 13 seconds. This is what we're going to have to do to win this game on defense. Or you're thinking,
how the hell did that happen? How the hell? Now I'm asking you as an analyst.
Yeah,
how the hell did the Chiefs do that in 13 seconds?
They did it because defensively, Buffalo played outside technique in a zone coverage defending the sidelines. The problem was Kansas City had timeouts, and you can't do that when a team has timeouts. So every receiver entered the defensive backfield with free access, particularly their better receivers, and it just can't happen. And it didn't, there's a 4-man rush, but they're protecting the sidelines when Kansas City didn't need to get to the sidelines. All Kansas City could go anywhere they wanted.
That's good, but I would have cut that down to about 15 seconds, and you would have squeezed it in there.
So then ask me the end of the Cowboys game, and let me see if I can do this better.
Okay. What did the Cowboys do wrong in this situation?
Well, look, they're trying to get in touchdown range, and they ran a draw. We typically would throw a pass and down. Ultimately, I think two more steps for Dak. He's got to slide a little quicker. He's up. Ball has to go to the umpire. Then let's go. We can never hand the ball to the center.
Okay, I like that. You got to speak in 15-second sound bites. You should
Yeah.
actually practice this. You know, if
Yep,
somebody
I like
asks you
it.
a question, give them 15 seconds and have that clock in your head. You know, if pizza is delivered, 15 seconds, that's it. Drew
I like
Brees
it.
calls you, 15 seconds per answer. What are you going to do all day today?
Well, I've got a list. I've got to do some packing. I'm actually moving into another house here in New Orleans.
So
From
you're
one to
going to
another.
stay there in New Orleans?
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to have a presence here. We'll always have a presence here, and we're moving in from a bigger house into like a condominium development. So I've got a number of things I've got to do relative to packing. I'm going to stop there because I'm at 15 seconds.
Okay, that's good. That's good. And you got a movie tomorrow night tomorrow it comes out on Netflix.
I've been asked so much about it, and I'm really excited for that group, for Adam Sandler and his team, and Chris Titone, who is my daughter's boyfriend. I've had zero input in. I've helped them with the story. I've got a small little cameo, and I'm excited like you are just to watch it, put it on and see what it looks like. It sounds like it's going to be funny and along the lines of the Bad News Bears.
And what I say in my cameo, just so you know, I don't believe what I said. Okay, I'm an actor because I was a little critical about you and your ego.
I got it. I'm a janitor in this movie, and so as a janitor, I'm not going to be offended about what you say about Kevin James playing Sean Payton.
Exactly. That. Could we get the visor from your last game?
Yeah,
We'd like to put it in the man cave if I could.
I like it. I will make sure, and I know where it's at. We will send that to you.
That might not be the last visor you wear as a head coach in the NFL.
Well, there's a chance. Look, if this television thing goes well, and I don't think they're going to want me in a visor.
Maybe the first game you wear a visor, just to let them know you're coaching.
You pay attention to all these things, and Romo and Nance have the matching CBS suits, and then certainly Buck and Aikman go a certain direction, and then NBC. Everyone's got their own little twist to it. It is interesting to watch, and it's those first 2 weekends, wild card or divisional round, where one of the networks has 2 games, and you get, and I don't want to say this but you get the other team, and you're watching a playoff game, and you're like, hey, why do I have the other team? It's a playoff game, and you understand that obviously that they've got 2 games.
Good luck with this, and if I can help, let me know.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I appreciate our friendship and working relationship too, all through these years.
Thank you, Sean. We appreciate it. Good luck.
All right. Thank you.
Sean Payton, the former Saints head coach. We'll take a break. Back after this.